Hi, we're Orange Olive Road. If you're not already following us on social media, we invite you to subscribe to our other pages. We know that you have a lot of options for crafting tutorials, so we thank you for spending time with us today. Today we're going to learn how to make these Christmas ornaments on a 22 needle knitting machine. They're quick and easy to make, and they're perfect for pros or beginners alike. Now for this project, I'm going to use worsted weight yarn, a knitting machine, these 3.5-inch ornaments, a tapered needle just like this one, and some type of glue. So you can use a hot glue gun or a tacky glue. It's really up to you. Now before we cast on, we want to make sure that our row counter is set to 0. So make sure you go ahead and do that right now, just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and cast on. So take a couple of inches of yarn, drop it in the center, and you're going to wrap it around your first needle just like that. Now I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see what I'm doing here. Now I'm going to take this yarn and I'm going to weave it back and forth, right? So in front and behind. And I'm going to go all the way around, alternating right back and forth. When I get to this last pin right here, this last needle, we want to make sure that it's tucked behind. So go ahead and put it into your tensioner and close the carriage. Okay, just like that. Now we're ready to knit. So go ahead and knit 20 rows. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cast off. So cut your yarn just like that. And you want to make sure that you use or have at least a couple of inches, right? Now we're going to thread our yarn through the needle just like this. Open up your carriage or take the yarn out of the tensioner. Now if you see right here, that's the first needle, but we want to take it off right there. And we want to make sure that our yarn stays tucked behind that last needle just like that. Okay, so now to cast off, I'm going to keep knitting around, right? And I'm going to pick up individual stitches with my needle, just like this. Okay, so I'm going to weave them one by one. And you're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so take care as you're pulling them up right here. As you start to have more work off of the machine, it'll get a little easier to pick them up like this. Right? But the important part, right, is that you don't want to drop stitches on this part. So take your time and go slow, just like this. Okay, so now that you've got your work secure, go ahead and take it off the loom like this. Put your loom aside. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there for now. And I'm going to give a gentle stretch to my work, just like this. Okay, since I already have my needle on this side, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this end closed first. Okay, so I'm going to pull it taut. I don't want to break the yarn, right? But I want this to be as closed as possible. So I'm going to weave in my needle just like this. And I'm going to keep pulling it closed as tight as possible, but again, without breaking the yarn. I want this end to be as neat as possible. So you can see I'm going to zoom in, right? And you can see, right, just tuck it right back in the middle and, just kind of weave in your yarn around like this. And again, pull it as you go. So it doesn't need to be a lot, just a couple stitches is fine. I'm going to pull it back through the center just like this. Going to give it one more tight little pull, okay? I'm going to leave it on my needle and I'm going to set it aside. Now I have my ornament here. I'm going to need to take the hardware off, so pull it off like that and set it aside. Now I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue here instead of hot glue, just because I don't want to burn my fingers. And also, right, I'm going to put a thin coat just like this. It doesn't dry as fast as hot glue does, obviously, so it gives me a little bit of time to work with it. So again, not too much glue, but enough, right, so that you can smooth it out. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into the bottom of my work, centering it as close as I can. If it's not perfect right now, don't worry, we can adjust it later on. So pull the other end closed, just like this. Okay, and I'm going to kind of twist it around. See those bumps? We don't want that. So you're going to use your fingers and you're going to smooth it out. If you have too much glue right here, it's going to come through, so not too much glue, okay? So keep using, right, your fingers to smooth it out. When the glue dries, it's going to stay nice and smooth, okay, for a nice good finish. Perfect. Okay. So now I have these two ends right here. I'm going to go ahead and use a surgeon's knot just to secure them. Okay. Again, you want to pull tight, but don't strangle it. You don't want your work to become uneven. So keep smoothing out the bumps as you go, just like this. And then, of course, you always have to double knot. Just want to make sure that it's secure. Take your time, right? You want this to be nice and neat. Once you're done, go ahead and thread each of your ends. And now you're going to take the ends and you're going to weave it down through the bottom. You can weave it all the way out of the bottom, but I don't. I usually go about halfway through because remember, you have glue at the end. And I don't want a bunch of glue on my needle. All right, so go ahead and trim the ends just like that. Do it for both sides. Now I'm going to move this stuff aside and I'm going to smooth out my work. You can still kind of scrunch it like this and keep it as smooth as possible so you can see those beautiful knit stitches, just like that. All right, so go ahead and put your hardware back on the top. And perfect. Now go make them in all the colors. I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.